So we talked about the why, right? And so why don't we share a little bit about like what we overcame, right? A lot of people who are close to us know our story, and the people who are in the community know our story. But a lot of people, who might be listening don't really know our story. What's our story?
Well, what is our story?
Well, I think it's we should note that when we met, God was not in the picture, right?
Our story is that we've done practically everything wrong.
We did do everything wrong.
Up until a couple of years ago.
Yeah, and it was through that, I think that, right? Because, and why did we do everything wrong? It's like we didn't know any better, right? We just had all the brokenness that we came together with. And I've been married and divorced twice already, and so you're my third wife, right? And just statistically, I mean, when you look at what the statistics are on third marriages, I mean, there's about a 75%, 80% failure rate in that. So just statistically,
And we were on that path to fulfill that statistic.
yeah, and at the advice of another plane, and at the advice of actually some of the counselors we saw, because it wasn't like we just were in a vacuum, right? We didn't just sit around in a vacuum. We went, sought help. The first few counselors we went to didn't really seem to help us as much as they didn't dive into what. I don't know how to describe it.
Well, I feel they were doing what they were trained to do.
Very
Right?
diagnostic, not. Yeah, they were.
They were trained to see signs, recognize them, and they had tools that they were giving.
Yeah.
But it was not treating the source of what.
Yeah, nor was it really, just from my perspective, because I was the one making a lot of the bad decisions. Didn't really, I didn't want to hear it. Like when you're in that place, like I wanted someone to tell me, this is how you fix your marriage. Not just like, take this stuff and don't touch yourself for 30 days in the shower. You know what I mean? Like, but that's real. I mean, that was some of the advice, right? It's like, if you have a pornography addiction, it's like, they just put you on this 30-day program where you can't do anything related to sex for 30 days. And that wasn't where I was at, because that didn't really address the root of what the problem was. Right?
So our story includes overcoming infidelity, overcoming pornography addiction, drug addiction,
use, verbal and emotional abuse, right? I was pretty abusive during that time. But we're here, right? We have 3-chord marriage now.
So it wasn't until we met with somebody who looked at us as individuals and pointed out the fact that I was broken and you as well were broken.
Yeah.
That although you were the one acting out, making all the bad decisions, it still didn't mean that I was fine.
Yeah, and I think for me, it's that, you don't want to be told you're the problem, even if you are the problem. And when we met with her, she was the first one who just was like, we're not here to assign blame. We're here to make you both well so that you can have a healthy marriage. And it wasn't until that point where I didn't feel as being accused, even though, nothing that was ever told to me was wrong. It's just that when you're in this place where you're so confused and just you're so broken, that telling you that you're broken doesn't help. It's like, okay, don't tell me I'm broken. I already know that. Like, help me not continue to do like help me not to hate myself more. Like, I already know that I'm not a great guy. I don't need you to pile on and remind me, right? And she was the first person that didn't do that. That gave us some hope, I think.
Well, and when we were introduced to her, I was pretty much done. This was the second time that an affair was revealed.
Yeah.
We had already dealt with one.
Overcome separation, and we're reconciling.
Yeah, we were reconciled, and it was only a year, 2 years, and it happened again. And I was like, well, the word gives me an out. I didn't take it the first time.
Yeah.
You know, like, come on, I thought you were healed.
Yep.
And so it was really both of our last resort, and praise God for that. She walked us through inner healing.
Yeah.
And being able to just look at ourselves and the lies that we believed our whole lives, even as children. And, you know, we didn't even know until going through this process, and many people don't know, that the way that people react to each other, I mean, 90% of the time, it has nothing to do with that person.
Yeah.
It has to do with the way that you know, you grew up, or just all the layers of life, creating you to be the person that you are and the mindsets that you believe. And so we were able to be walked through healing that we didn't even know we needed.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until we individually were healed of our own past and our own baggage, like you said, that we came into the marriage with, were we then able to come together again as one.
You know, and as you're talking about that, just something that really comes to mind that I think is so important to stress, you know, in this day and age, is that, you know, and this might be a little bit of a tangent, but, you know, people that don't understand what it's like to walk with God and understand, you know, have Jesus in their lives, they think that the church is judgy because they don't understand the difference between, you know, love and just blind acceptance, right? They think, nowadays everybody thinks that love is just, oh, well, you should just accept me for me and not tell me, you know,
not correct me,
right? Because that's what people really want. And, you know, the reason I mentioned that is because it made me think and realize as we were going through that, and I was transparent with the leadership of the church about what I had done, and that it was the second time, because some of the leaders already knew about the first time. I was really met with compassion and love, where even having the senior pastor of the church, who I went and confessed to, tell me, you know, in those moments, like, I don't think any less of you because of this, and I want you to know that and understand that. It didn't absolve me of the responsibility and the consequences for what I did, but it really showed what true love is about, right? I committed adultery, I confessed it, and in that, you know, I got some pretty direct counsel from some of the pastors at the church, but at the same time, they didn't judge me, and that really also aided in the healing. And that's why we're so about community, I think, is because you need to be surrounded when things are great, just people to cheer you on like cheerleaders, right? But when things aren't great, to have people that are going to speak life into you, not judge you, not.
Well, and I feel like it's seeing you as the person that God created, and that your decisions and your bad decisions don't define you.
Yeah.
But you do need to own them.
Yeah.
Take responsibility for them and stop doing them.
Well, yeah, because there's always consequences, right? I mean, just to be totally real, right? I have 4 beautiful, beautiful children who I love with all my heart. And recognizing that in my history, before, you know, God really sent the right people to help me get better, I just was not the best father. I was certainly not a good husband, right? And so I'm with my fourth son, or my fourth child, second son. Really, we are estranged right now. And that's one of the consequences. It doesn't mean that I don't love him. It doesn't mean that he's not valid in how he's feeling. But there's that reconciliation. And so I'm believing that God will turn that around in time. But, it's, you don't not have consequences, but you do have encouragement and love and hope when you're in the right community of people. And that's so important. And that's, I think, why we're doing what we're doing.